Man, we've been getting so many remasters of classic RPGs as of late. The HD 2D remake of Dragon Quest III, Live Alive, Grandia, and all the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. And some upcoming stuff like Suikoden I II and Lunar. Theoretically, I should be super excited about all of this. I mean, those games get a second chance in the modern gaming space and also get a graphical overhaul as well. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie at all, I've been loving these remakes a ton. Star Ocean the Second Story remake should be illegal just due to how addictive it is. But there is one small problem. One thing that seems tiny on the surface, but the deeper you dig, the more you realize how significant this problem really is. It's the fact that some of these remakes look, yeah, they kinda look like ass sometimes. Okay, hear me out. You probably don't see it, and yeah, most people don't either, until I point it out to them. Initially, I didn't notice this until I played probably one of the worst offenders of this phenomenon. The Romancing Saga 3 Remastered, oh my god. Okay, first of all, let's just get it out of the way right now. These assets are mainly taken from the Romancing Saga mobile game. Romancing Saga Re-Universe. Do I emphasize the SE at the end of that? I don't know, I mean the S is capitalized, so like, it implies it should be emphasized. Okay, it doesn't matter at all. I don't mind those assets being used in a mobile game. Sure, it looks kinda tacky, but like, it's a free game. But when you decide to remaster a previously untranslated classic and use mobile game clip art looking assets on top of these SNES sprites, then there's a huge problem. This is the only legal way to experience the game if you don't know how to speak Japanese. And this thing costs almost $30. Almost $30. God, do you know how much you could buy with that? 2 Stardew Valleys. Really good Chinese food. In order to make my thumbnails look actually appealing. My own Tamagotchi, even 2 actually. And like, the gameplay itself is good. $30 worth of good in fact, but like, it doesn't warrant it being $30 as a remake. In my opinion, as a remaster it fails for one fundamental reason, and it's the art style. The first thing you'll notice is how much the art style absolutely clashes with the pixel characters in the environments. It's not that pixel characters inherently can't fit in non-pixel environments, I've seen it plenty of times before. I just think the art direction itself here is the main issue. Given that this is just a remaster of an existing Super Famicom game, the characters still move the same way they did in those games as well. And I sometimes find this new art style like legitimately getting in the way of my movement. It's not super common or anything, but sometimes they'll get caught on something and it makes movement more janky than it needs to be. The pixel environments and pixel backgrounds is what the developers had in mind when it came to character movement in the original. So integrating this new style with the way the OG devs intended for you to control the character must have been difficult. And it's not like these environments are ugly, it's just the fact that when you combine the pixel art characters with these backgrounds, it just doesn't blend well together. On their own, they look fine, they look serviceable, but in context of it being a remaster, it doesn't feel like there was too much effort put into making things feel coherent. Plus, I just have to admit, the pixel environments gave this game so much more charm. The colors in the remaster can feel too bright and saturated at times, when the original uses more subdued, darker colors for their environments. Not FF6 levels of dark, but kinda like it has an earthy vibe to it. The original Super Famicom version has a lot of really dull looking colors within it. The world looks dull, drab, sometimes even depressing if you want to go that far. And it really just adds so much to the atmosphere of this game. It focuses heavily on exploration, and I feel like these colors kind of make things feel more mysterious in a way. And once you actually come across a beautiful environment, it can feel really special. And yeah, that does not translate to the remaster at all. Again, this is all an art direction issue. This could work, but it's pretty clear that not much thought was put behind certain aspects of this. That's why the Suikoden I and II remasters scare me so much. I can see the same mistake being made, and I'm really worried about its future. You did not understand how absolutely hyped I was for this when it was first announced. I mean, I love the HD 2D style, okay? Live Alive did an amazing job translating these old SNES environments and sprites and bringing them to a whole new space. In the HD 2D Live Alive made the decision not to replace the original, but instead to build off of it. Playing the original will provide you a substantially different experience than if you play the remaster. I'm not saying this is what all remasters should be, but I just really have to appreciate this aspect of that game. And the Suikoden remaster, I hope will be that. I mean, it looks gorgeous. In some parts. I noticed visually, this game falls into some of the same pitfalls that the Romancing Saga remaster did. Battles look fantastic, and some of these set pieces are gorgeous, but man, some of it just looks so rough. Like, I can tell this just doesn't blend together well at all, and the shading is a huge contributor to this. Good shading can kind of hide how out of place characters can look in certain spaces. In the areas that I've seen so far of this game that I think are colored well, don't have this issue of the characters looking out of place. But in those times where the colors look really flat, yeah, no, the issue is super noticeable. I mainly noticed this in the indoor looking areas, which look borderline unfinished. I mean, I know the game's not out yet, so I'm hoping that they'll fix that part. I doubt it, but I mean, one can dream, right? I can understand the struggle though. It's really hard to make pixel characters fit in these types of places. And whereas 3D environments have been experimented with for decades, this is a lot more new-ish. Like the HD 2D remakes that use 3D environments look amazing. This game does use 3D environments in certain places and it looks great, but those other parts I'm just hoping will look more refined in the final version because I'm really looking forward to playing this game. And I don't want to be distracted by looking at these fucking ugly ass interiors, man. Also the font, it kind of sucks. That's like a running trend with these. Still not as bad as the ones in the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, which I'll be talking about right now actually. Oh boy, the Pixel remasters. Believe it or not, these games were subject to a little controversy when they came out. More specifically, among the pixel art community. In my opinion, 3, 4, and 5 look great. Dare I say, the best looking versions of these games. 1 and 2 also look good, but don't hold a candle to the GBA and PS1 versions of this. But I want to talk about 6, because the way they did this game makes it almost unplayable for me, unironically. What the hell happened to this game's colors? Why is everything so disgustingly bright? It absolutely kills the atmosphere of the original game. It slaughters it even. This neon grass caught my attention immediately, and the moment I saw that, I knew I was going to stick to the original game. FF6 was never even close to this bright, not even a fraction of this. The brightest area of the original game still looks grossly dull compared to whatever the hell this is. The whole art direction of the original is absolutely butchered, down to the character sprites. The controversy I was talking about earlier was actually due to how the characters were colored and shaded. The shading and colors for the original were a lot darker, whereas the new ones are a lot brighter and the shading is more soft. And it actually uses more colors to shade these characters. It's almost excessive really. The type of shading they use for the new ones is actually called pillow shading. If you don't know what pillow shading is, it's described as shading that has no regard for lighting that would actually make sense in an environment. And yeah, like I said earlier, look closely at these original sprites. Notice how for each character, they only use one darker color and it's like ridiculously noticeable. Whereas with the new ones, it uses like 5 colors for some reason. In my opinion, it's completely unnecessary. I've actually compared the new sprites to the models used for the original mobile Final Fantasy VI, which look disgusting by the way, and it looks like they combined both sprites and made it into this one thing. The colors here are more reminiscent of the disgusting mobile versions instead of the original. The other games have the same problem too, but it's not nearly as distracting because the lighter tones aren't really killing the atmosphere. Like with FF5, I didn't notice this. I never would have noticed this until I saw this game. Then I went back and realized, oh crap, they did this with all of these sprites, gosh. And yeah, this is the type of shading I would do before I knew how basic shading worked. I'm so confused in what they were going for with this, honestly. But yeah, people were like unreasonably pissed about this. It's kind of funny actually. They were arguing about it for like weeks. The way they feel about these character sprites is how I feel about the environments, because oh god, they fucking ruin these environments, man. Almost every single area in this game looks visually worse. The dark colors used in the original add so much to the game, and it's not noticeable until you look at the remake. Let's look at one of my favorite areas when it comes to the atmosphere, Zozo. Now, this area has rain, so I'm already biased to love this area. Gosh, I freaking love rain so much. And in the original, it looks dark, grimy, dingy, kinda gross. Like, have you ever been to that bad part of town at night completely lost? This area encapsulates that vibe so well. But with the remake, nah, that doesn't happen at all actually. Everything is bright now, so it just looks like another area. Wow. And the music for this dungeon is ruined as well. The OG sounds in your face. It sounds violent, but also mysterious. And this one, god, I don't even know what this is. Oh. I'm not here to crap on the remastered music. It's great for the most part, and like all of these remasters, but mess ups do exist. It's obvious that when it comes to the music, they do not mess around, okay? A lot of these tracks do sound like really great. But this track just gets me. It feels like something I would play in like 6th grade band. What the hell? You know, this is a dingy, dark place. Why does it sound so upbeat? It does not fit the environment at all. You might think me complaining about the way the game is colored is just a dumb nitpick, but it genuinely ruins so much of the game. A huge aspect of FF6 is its atmosphere. Some of the most memorable parts of the game are because of its atmosphere. For example, there's this part early on in the game, Barren Falls. When we first come across this waterfall, it's one of the most breathtaking scenes in the entire game. Up to this point, most of what we've seen has been dull or depressing. Narsh, the Phantom Forest, and even the Overworld. So when this shows up, it's genuinely mesmerizing. Probably the first glimpse of true beauty we get to see in this game. A very rare glimpse, only seen in a few other parts. And these moments of beauty stand out even more after, oh yeah, spoilers if you haven't finished FF6. Just skip this segment just because, yeah, there might be spoilers. I don't know why I say there might be spoilers. There are spoilers actually. 3, 2, 1. World of Ruin. Okay, we're good, we're good. Yeah, these moments of beauty only become even more memorable during the World of Ruin, where something this stunning is basically unheard of. But nah, in the remake it just blends in with every other set piece in the game. In fact, it's even more dark than places like Narsh and the overworld. But look, they added a rainbow. Oh, that makes it all okay. No, but seriously, I actually really like the rainbow. It's a nice addition. And while speaking about the world of Ruin, they even ruined the atmosphere of that too. Again, why are the colors so bright for no reason? The world of Ruin is meant to be dark, it's meant to be depressing, it's meant to be a constant reminder of your failure. It's a point of no return because you can't return, everything's been ruined, hence World of Ruin. But here it looks like an average evening in Arizona, not the freaking apocalypse. It just kills the game for me. There are other smaller problems, like the font, and even the character portraits looking worse, but I don't really care, I really don't. The most important part of this game, the very thing that makes it stand out so much, the very thing that made me fall in love with it just straight up isn't here, dog. Also, I've heard a lot of people were upset with the fact that enemies weren't redone for this game, but I'm actually kind of glad they didn't redo them. They already looked amazing and they still do here because there were no changes made. Going back to my general issues with remasters, even the good looking games have really bad UI. I've been complaining about sloppy UI for like forever now and it's still a thing for some reason. A lot of the time, they can be intrusive or look sort of cheap and tacky. The Chrono Trigger re-releases are fine in my opinion, but I heavily dislike the battle UI. And I really don't like the filter that can be put on this game. It's out of the way, so I don't really care, but it's like a mix of pixelated and smoothed out. It looks freaking gross, man. Ugh. Upscaling in these games can be done correctly, but so many times does it come out sloppy looking. And AI upscaling is pretty controversial for a good reason. I mean a really good reason. Even before the AI art debate, which my opinion is not influenced by that at all, when it's done bad, it's not super distracting, but it comes off as really sloppy and low effort. Especially when they purposely blur something to hide the smudging that comes with it. And if you don't know what smudging is, it's this. Yeah, looks kind of disgusting actually. Persona 3 Portable re-release, I'm looking at you. You're gross to look at sometimes, but I still love you. I don't get the obsession some of these remasters have with just completely doing away with pixel environments. Like, yeah, again, it looks great when it's done correctly, but how necessary is it really? Pixel art is good because it's timeless. I wish they would expand on the art form more instead of just completely replacing it. The upcoming Lunar remaster keeps this pixel art and adds this gorgeous shading to everything, as well as some depth of field, which make the environments feel more three-dimensional. I am not opposed to AI upscaling, it has practical uses, and I do believe it can be used correctly, but man, it's just unneeded sometimes. And even when it is needed, it's just not used correctly at certain points. There's so much I can tear into with these remasters, but I won't distract myself from all the good out there. We are currently in an RPG renaissance, and despite my qualms with how some of these games look, I can't be angry. Okay, I can be a little angry at FF6, but other than that, I'm just glad these games are more accessible to the general gaming audience. And when these remasters are done well, oh gosh, they're phenomenal. I just wanted to talk about this real quick. I'm going back to playing Nintendo Street Pass. Gosh, I love that game. Peace out.